Good morning, class 11 commerce. Welcome to economics class. Class 12 commerce. Welcome to economics class. We have already started Indian economy, the another part of economics. We have already covered two topics. Third topic we are covering today, that is what was the position of agricultural sector on the eve of independence. इंडिपेंडेंस के समय हमारी एग्रीकल्चर की पोजीशन क्या थी? नंबर 1, लो प्रोडक्शन एंड प्रोडक्टिविटी. लो प्रोडक्शन मींस द टोटल आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस्ड इन एग्रीकल्चर फार्मिंग वाज वेरी लेस. भारत में जितनी एग्रीकल्चर लैंड थी उस पे जितना भी टोटल प्रोडक्शन होता था ग्रेन्स का, वो बहुत ही कम था, बिकॉज ऑफ ओल्ड टेक्निक्स ऑफ कल्टीवेशन एंड per hectare production was also less, productivity was also less. Productivity means per hectare production, एक प्रति एकड़ जो प्रोडक्शन होता था वो बहुत ही कम था. This was the position of agriculture at the time of independence. Number 2, high degree of uncertainty. Our agriculture was totally uncertain. There was no surety whether we will get our crops or not. Why it was so? It was because of Indian agriculture was totally based on monsoon, rain. If good rain is there, farmers were getting good crops. If rain was not good, the crops was also not good. And Britishers did not develop any irrigation system in India. They did not try even to produce or to bring advanced irrigation technology. No tubes were there at that time. Totally rain, agriculture was dependent on monsoon or rain. That's why the agriculture was totally uncertain. Next is dominance of subsistence farming. What is the meaning of subsistence farming? It means crops are produced to provide basic needs of the family. जो फार्मिंग होती थी उसमें किसान केवल इतना पैदा करते थे कि एक परिवार की जरूरत पूरी हो जाए. That's all. They were not trying to produce enough crops so that they could have surplus amount of crops. कि थोड़ी बहुत एक्स्ट्रा बचे and they can sell it in market and can do something better. No, they were producing only to fulfill their basic needs of their family. That is known as subsistence farming. Next, another position of agriculture was gulf between owner and tillers. Owners were zamindar at that time, as we discussed in our previous lectures. Most of the land was kept by zamindars. They were owner of their land, and the farmers were tillers. They were tenants. They were working on the land of owner, that is of zamindar. Whatever production was produced by the tillers or by the tenants, maximum part of that was taken by owner and a little bit part was given to tiller. जितना टोटल प्रोडक्शन होता था उसका मैक्सिमम पार्ट ओनर ले लेते थे और थोड़ा बहुत पार्ट ही टेनेंट को या टीलर को या फार्मर को मिलता था. तो the gap between owner and tiller was increasing. Owner were becoming more and more rich and tillers were becoming more and more poor. जमींदार were always demanding लगान. जमींदार हमेशा लगान मांगते थे, चाहे फसल पैदा हो चाहे ना हो, अच्छी फसल हो चाहे कम फसल हो, चाहे ना भी हो. That's why there was a gulf between owner and tiller. This gap was increasing. Next is small and fragmented holding. What is the meaning of small and fragmented holding? If even few farmers were having their own land, अगर कुछ जमींदारों के पास, कुछ किसानों के पास अपनी जमीन थी, the quantity of land was very small and it was fragmented. What is the meaning of it was fragmented? It means a farmer was having one piece of land at north side and another piece of land was south side. अगर किसी किसान के पास थोड़ी बहुत जमीन होती भी थी तो वो फ्रेगमेंटेड थी, बटी हुई थी. It was not at one place. One piece of land they were having at one place and another piece of land they were having at another place. तो you just imagine, आप imagine कीजिए अगर इस प्रकार से जमीन होगी तो वो खेती कैसे कर पाएंगे. तो at that time it was small and fragmented holding. Next, land revenue system, as we discussed earlier also, completely land revenue system was there. Lands were totally owned by zamindars. They were earning more and more revenue from tenants or farmers. Tillers were producing the crops and they were giving to the zamindars, and zamindars were giving a part of it as a tax to the Britishers. Next, forced commercialization of agriculture. What is the meaning of forced commercialization of agriculture? First of all, during that era, most of the farmers were producing food crops. They were producing food crops only. वे केवल अनाज पैदा करते थे. There were no commercial crops like cotton, like mustard and all. They were producing only food crops. But at few point, Britishers forced farmers to do commercial crops also. But that commercial crops was in form of indigo. And it was forced by Britishers कि you farmers have to produce indigo only. Indigo it means it is a नील जो नीले जो कपड़े whiteness लाने के लिए कपड़ों में दिया जाता है. This indigo was required by Britishers in their textile industry in Britain. That's why Britishers forced farmers to produce indigo, and that indigo they would be able to sell it to Britishers. So farmers were not ready to produce indigo because this indigo was reducing the fertility of farms. Number one, they forced, and Britishers forcefully given advances to the farmers. वो जानबूझ के उनको एडवांस देते थे, ये पैसा लीजिए उनको अट्रैक्ट करने के लिए, and you produce indigo only. And they were producing indigo, वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा indigo produce करते थे. They were not having food crops, तो food crops they were purchasing from the market. So little bit commercialization of agriculture was done, but that was done only for the benefit of Britishers, not for the benefit of Indian farmers. So this was the position of agriculture sector at the time of independence. Now let us go for the another fourth topic of this chapter, industrial sector position on the eve of independence. What was the position of industrial sector at the time of independence? Number one, discriminatory tariff policy. Tariff policy stands for the taxation which was charged by the government. It was totally discriminatory. Discriminatory means Britishers were charging taxes according to their own choice. They put tariff-free export of raw material. India was very rich in raw material at that time. So what Britishers did, they were exporting the entire raw material from India to Britain, to their industry, and Britishers made a policy, this entire export will be tariff free. जो भी export होगा उसके ऊपर कोई टैक्स नहीं लगेगा. What was the benefit of that? The main benefit was Britishers industries were getting raw material at cheaper rate. That is the tax free export. Number two, tax free import of Britishers products in India. Another discrimination was done by the Britishers कि whatever goods will be produced in Britain, that goods will come in India. India will import that product from Britain, and when the goods will come into India, there will be no import duty. जब goods India में आके बिकेगा तो उस पे कोई भी duty, import duty charge नहीं होगी. तो what was the benefit of this tariff free import? In Britain, Britishers goods was cheaper in India in comparison of Indian products. So Indian industries were ruining at that time. And third is heavy duty on export of handicraft. India was good in handicrafts as we discussed in previous lectures. India was producing very good handmade items, and India were exporting those items to the foreign countries. There were a lot of demand of handicrafts in foreign countries, but Britishers put heavy export duty on Indian handicrafts. जब इंडियन माल हैंडीक्राफ्ट का विदेशों में बिकने जाता था तो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट ने इंडिया के अंदर उसके ऊपर हैवी एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी लगा दी. ड्यू टू दैट हैवी एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी, इंडियन प्रोडक्ट्स बिकेम कॉस्टली एट इंटरनेशनल लेवल. what happened due to that? Indian handicraft goods demand start reducing, वो कम होनी शुरू हो गई. So this was how discriminatory tariff policy was adopted by Britishers. Number two, disappearance of princely courts. What is the meaning of princely courts? Before Britishers or during Britishers also, the India was divided into provinces and they were ruled by kings, rajas, राजा होते थे, king होते थे. They were entirely ruled by the these rajas, king. And these princes were safeguarding the interest of Indian handicraft industry. वो इंडियन हैंडीक्राफ्ट इंडस्ट्री के इंटरेस्ट को सेफगार्ड करते थे. These princes were exporting a lot of handicraft goods abroad and they were earning handsome money. But during Britishers rule, these Britishers ended this princely system. उन्होंने राजाओं के अधिकारों को कम कर दिया. And entire the ruling was taken by Britishers, and in this way the handicrafts industry completely destroyed by Britishers because they were not under control of princes now. Next is competitions from machine products. Now what happened? Indian producers were producing goods with handicraft, with handmade machines. There were no power looms at that time. मशीनें हाथ से ही चलती थी. But in foreign countries like Britain, they were producing goods with machines. So when goods were produced with the machine, the goods quality was even better than handmade goods. Number one. Number two, machines can produce goods in bulk quantity. That's why goods were cheaper. And number three, Britishers were importing the goods from Britain to India, and that was also import duty free. So what happened? Indian goods could not face the competition with machine products which were produced by Britishers. It was again a setback to Indian industries. Next, new pattern of demand. What is the meaning of new pattern of demand? Due to Britishers, the British rulers, that British culture came in India. British culture came in India and the demand pattern changed. Now instead of Indian products demand, people were purchasing Britishers products because Britishers products were more little bit good than Indian products. So demand pattern shifted from Indian product to Britishers product. And the another important factor which happened during this industrial sector was introduction of railway in India. These were the Britishers who brought railway system in India. These Britishers brought railway system in India for their own benefit. What was the benefit to Britishers for this rail system? They were exporting the raw material from one state to, they were collecting the goods through the trains and they were sending it to their country Britain. And whatever goods were coming from Britain, ready-made goods, finished goods, they were selling it to throughout the India. So means the railway system was developed by the Britishers to expand their own markets, not for the benefit of India, but for their own expansion of their own market. So this was the position of industrial sector at the time of independence. So this was another topic today. Two topics we have covered: agriculture sector position and industrial sector position at the time of eve of independence. Thank you.